Okay, thank you, Shumanda, for starting the recording. তো আমি আরেকবার ডিসক্লেমারটা বলি যেখানে বাদ গেছিল। তো you must consult your mortgage broker, lawyer or accountant for advice. This session is not meant for personal marketing, so everybody should consult their realtor if you are under contract for any transaction specific questions. তো অনেকেই আমরা হয়তো এখন মার্কেটে আছি, বাড়ি দেখছি অ্যাক্টিভলি, আর আমরা হয়তো কোনো রিয়েলটরের সাথে অ্যাক্টিভলি কাজ করছি। তো আমাদের অনেকেই হয়তো আমরা জানি না, কিন্তু আমাদের একটা কন্ট্রাক্ট থাকে, মাঝে মাঝে আমরা সাইন করে ফেলি না বুঝে। তো যদি এরকম কিছু থাকে তো তোমরা সেরকম প্রশ্নগুলো করো না, জেনেরিক প্রশ্ন করো। আমরা যেটা করেছি হলো, আমরা এই সেশনে আমরা চেষ্টা করেছিলাম যে আগে থেকে প্রশ্ন গ্যাদার করার। আমরা কিছু প্রশ্ন পেয়েছি, কিছু প্রশ্ন আমরা নিজেরাও বানিয়েছি। তো আমরা সেই প্রশ্নগুলো দিয়ে স্টার্ট করব। যখন সেই প্রশ্নগুলো হয়ে যাবে, আমাদের 30টা মতো প্রশ্ন আছে, এই 30টা প্রশ্ন হয়ে গেলে তারপরে আমরা আশা করছি কিছু সময় পাবো, অ্যাটলিস্ট 30 মিনিটস বা 15 মিনিটস সময় পাবো। তখন যদি আরো কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকে কারোর, বা এই প্রশ্নগুলোর মধ্যে থেকেই যদি আরো ক্লারিফিকেশন কারোর দরকার হয়, প্লিজ প্রশ্নগুলো নাম্বারগুলো মনে রেখো, তাহলে আমরা সেগুলো নিয়ে ডিসকাস করতে পারি সেই লাস্ট 30 মিনিটসে। তো আমরা এবার স্টার্ট করব। আমাদের প্রথম আর আরেকটা জিনিস হলো, আমি যেটা বলতে চাই সবাইকে, যে আমরা বাংলা, ইংলিশ, হিন্দি এই 3টে ল্যাঙ্গুয়েজেই বলবো। যে যেটাই কমফোর্টেবল সে সেটাই উত্তর দিতে পারে বা প্রশ্ন করতে পারে, কোনো বাধা নেই। এই আমরা যে প্রথম 30টা প্রশ্ন ডিসকাস করছি, সেই মুহূর্তে আমরা চাইবো না অডিয়েন্স থেকে কেউ কোনো প্রশ্ন করুক। কোনো প্রশ্ন থাকলে চ্যাটে, এই জুম চ্যাটে লিখতে পারো, বা লাস্ট 30 মিনিটসে আমরা আনসার করতে পারি। তো আমরা স্টার্ট করছি। আমরা এই সেশনটাকে দুটো ভাগে ভাগ করেছি, একটা হলো রিসেল আর একটা হলো প্রি কনস্ট্রাকশন। এই দুটো নিয়েই লোকেরা ইন্টারেস্টেড, তাই জন্য আমরা সেরকম ভাবে আমাদের প্যানেলিস্ট দেরও সেরকম ভাবে আমরা অ্যাড করেছি। আমাদের সাথে আছে রামনীত আর ইন্দ্রনীল, যারা দুজনেই রিসেল নিয়ে প্রশ্নের উত্তর দেবে। আর তার সাথে আমাদের সাথে আছে সিড আর সুমন, যারা আমাদের প্রি কনস্ট্রাকশন নিয়ে আনসার করবে। তো আমরা একবার সবার একটা ছোট ইন্ট্রোডাকশন নিয়ে নেব। রামনীত, we'll start with you. Just a very short intro.
Thank you so much, Indrajit, for everyone, and welcome everyone today to this session. Just real quick, I've been in this industry for almost more than 7 years now. And I have been with Page, and now I'm with Century 21. I'm here in this country since the last 20 years. I have 2 children, one boy and a girl, and they're both adults. I'm just enjoying my life and loving selling the homes, and this is my passion, and I love meeting with people. That's it. That's about me.
Thank you, Ramneet. We'll go over to Indranil.
নমস্কার, আমার নাম ইন্দ্রনীল ঘোষ। আমি লাস্ট 17 বছর ধরে রিয়েল এস্টেট করছি। আগে রিম্যাক্সে ছিলাম, এখন রয়্যাল লিপেজে আছি। আমারও 2টো ছেলে, ওরাও অলমোস্ট বড় হয়ে গেছে। তো আমি এটা ফুল টাইম করি, আর ব্যাস এইটুকুই বলার ছিল। থ্যাংক ইউ।
Thank you. Sid, how about you? শোনা যাচ্ছে না, শুনতে পাচ্ছি না আমরা। না, এখনো শোনা যাচ্ছে না। তুমি কি আরেকবার লগ অফ করে লগ ইন করবে? মানে ডিসকানেক্ট করে একবার কানেক্ট করো, ততক্ষণ আমরা সুমন দারটা শুনে নিই। শুনতে পাচ্ছি না, মিউটে আছো।
I forgot. Hi everyone, আমি সুমন চক্রবর্তী, part of Save Max Success Realty. আমি আর Sid একসাথেই কাজ করি. We are into pre-construction, resale, and all everything. আমি এই business-এ not for long, for a very short period, but করতে চাই তার কারণটা হচ্ছে ভালো লাগে রিয়েল এস্টেট। ফ্যামিলিতে আমি, আমার ছেলে, আমার ওয়াইফ, and ছেলে already established, and that's about it. That's all about me.
Thank you so much. আমরা 1 মিনিট ওয়েট করি সেটার জন্য, তারপরে আমরা সেশন
Sid is coming in. Sid is coming in.
তুমি কি জয়েন করছো? তাহলে আমি লিভ করে যাব।
Sid,
জয়েন করে গেলে বললো। হ্যাঁ,
পল্লবী প্লিজ মিউট করো।
সরি।
Sid, we still can't hear you. You come and sit here.
This is easy.
I think that's a better option.
This is easy, much easier.
This is much easier.
Yeah, I could hear him across the room.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Sid, please give us your intro.
Hello, friends. Happy New Year to everyone. My name is Sid Sarkar, and I'm the owner partner for Save Max Success Realty, and I'm a broker as well. In this profession for 5 years now, and we do a lot of pre-construction. We also do resale as well, but our focus is pre-construction.
Okay, thank you so much. এবার আমরা আমাদের সেশনের কোয়েশ্চেন চালু করব। আমাদের যেমন বললাম, আমাদের 30টা মতো প্রশ্ন আছে, 15টা রিসেল, 15টা প্রি-কনস্ট্রাকশন। তো আমি রিসেল থেকেই চালু করছি। আমাদের কিছুদিন আগে আমাদের হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ গ্রুপে অনেক একটা ডিসকাশন হচ্ছিল যে আমরা রিয়েলটর যে খুঁজবো, কিরকম ভাবে খুঁজবো। তো এই প্রশ্নটা রামনীতের জন্য। রামনীত, so if what to look for in a realtor?
Thank you so much, Indrajit, for this question. And I think this is something that the four of us can actually throw their ideas. But I'm going to start with this because it applies to all four of us in here that are part of the panel. I think, and nothing in the order of which is more important than the other. I think it is about the experience. It is also about knowing how long they've been in this industry for. And not necessarily that is just one factor, a number of transactions that they do, right? Where do they service? Do they have a full team? Type of clients that they've handled, and what kind of network do they have? Can they help me from A to Z? Interview them, talk to a few people, few realtors before you make a decision about it. Are they patient? Or do they have the ability to strategize? Ask them the questions based on what your friends' experiences have been, what you know of it, because it's very different from the country that we come from. We need to be able to understand. It's not like our in India where you have a little pouchy thing and your little babu and you going around. That's not the concept. We are very licensed. We are very professional. We've got errors and omissions. We've gone to school for it. People who are passionate like ourselves, we really put our heart and soul into it because we're not building people that is just to buy in today. I'm not going to talk to you, right? I'm making you my lifetime, part of my life. And I want to make sure that you stay with me. So it's about relationship. Is that the realtor that you're looking for, right? And it's not about your friends who give you the referral, but it is your home buying. put your heart into it, talk to them, do you connect with them? That's an important aspect of it. Without the technical know-how, they know. Do they know about the market? Yes, that's the technical skill, but having a realtor that you can connect with is an important aspect of it as well. But I'll leave it to the three others, the boys group, to throw in some of their comments. So I'm going to go mute on that if you want to add to that.
Thank you, Ramneet.
I think we would allow Indranil to go ahead with that.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Ramneet. That was absolutely right. Those are the things you're obviously looking for in a realtor. You also have to find out if this person is doing this full time. This is a 7 days a week job. That's what we've been doing for the last decade, and you need that. So that's also very important. The other thing is also to review, to find out about what other people that they have worked with, what they are saying about this realtor. It's all about what kind of service these people are providing. Are they treating you just like a number that they're just going to do a transaction and forget about you, or they really care? So these are things that you should be really looking forward to. And I will let Suman and Sid finish it off.
You guys pretty much summed it up
You
nicely.
guys summed
Pretty
it up
much covered
nicely.
everything. Yeah, trust is very important. Obviously, your you know, you must do your research before you work with anyone. Talk to them, see if you connect with them. These are basics, right?
I have one question for Suman and Sid. If a person is like, it's a continuation of the same question. So when we are selecting a realtor and when we are only interested in pre-construction, is there anything specific that we should look for in the realtor?
Yeah, apart from whatever has been discussed already, the most important thing which you need to see is that how much access the realtors have with the builders, because that's very important. I mean, if the realtor has got access, there is a very high possibility that you are going to get your allocation of units. That's important, right? And apart from that, yes, experience in pre-construction is necessary, because it's a bit different ballgame altogether compared to resale. There are few things which are pretty different, few things which are common.
And especially in pre-construction, you need to look out for which realtor. It's not humanly possible for one person to be working with all the builders and all the developers, right? So our team works with a few developers who have a very good market share, for example. So you need to look at those teams and look at those individuals who can actually get your unit when you need one. And obviously the other factors come in, as Ramneet and Indranil already discussed before.
So I have two rebuttal questions, one for you and one for Indranil. I'll go with you first. When I go to a realtor and he says I have a good relationship with a lot of builders, how do I verify that? Everybody will say I have a good relationship.
It's very difficult to verify actually, but the market right now, there are few ways that we work it's something called cooperation, right? So I might not have access to a project that Suman has, right?
Okay.
So in that case, I'm going to cooperate with Suman to make the deal happen. So our work is to make it happen, right? And that works for any other, and I may have direct relationship with the builder as well. Yeah, at the end of the day, you have to get a unit. That's what the validation is.
Okay, all right, thank you.
And of course, the confidence, right? I mean, if somebody tells me that 100% I'm going to get you a unit, and some people are choosy, oh, I want the east facing one. That might not be possible because market is kind of crazy. It's kind of a take it or leave it kind of a scenario right now. Yeah, so at least a unit.
Okay, thank you. And Indranil, my question for you is, you mentioned look for someone who is full-time. So now in today's market, almost everybody is looking for a second or a third job. So what are the concerns with, I mean, if we work with a part-time?
Well, I'll give you a perfect example. In today's market, when houses are just flying off the shelf, just last week in December, last week in December, we are just 1 week in the new year. A house came on the market in the morning, right? I saw it, my client saw it at the same time. The house already had an offer on it at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So if a person has a full-time job, how is that person able to go and show that house? And we did put an offer and we did get it. So it amazes me how people do this part-time, because like I said, most of the people that I work with or with my colleagues that are here, we do this full-time and still it's not enough. So when somebody is doing this part-time, it totally blows my mind that how do they manage that when they are showing homes only in the evenings or on the weekends, because it's like the thing goes 24/7, right? So that was my, I guess that's my answer.
I agree with Indranil, absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
And I just agree, just segue to what Indranil said. You will see us working till 3 a.m. and I have done that. And I'm sure it's not unique just to me. All realtors here are going to say that. That shows the dedication and hard work. And we are up again at 6 o'clock to make sure that the first flow of the listings are coming through and I'm getting it so that I'm dragging my clients through. Let's go, let's go, let's go. So I think that's the important part of it, which is as a part-time, you won't be able to do it.
Okay, thank you so much. I think we took a lot of time on this question. I'm partly to blame for that, but we'll move on to the next question. The next question is for Indranil. Indranil, what is the benefit of owning versus, what is the difference between owning versus renting? Is there any benefit to owning a house?
That's one of the reasons why we have 38 people joining this session, because real estate is hot. So and anyone that we are all immigrants, most of us at least, and we have come to the country, we can see that the prices are going up steadily and sometimes crazy in the last couple of years. So when you are renting, yes, it is hassle-free, but you are pretty much paying somebody else's mortgage. When you own any piece of property, doesn't matter if it is a condo, it's a townhouse, or it's a detached home, there is some pride to it, and you are building up your equity. And most of us that I know of, most of my friends, colleagues, anybody that I know, they depend on real estate today as their retirement fund. I think, so, where else are we living in an age where you live in a house, you pay the mortgage, and you get all these benefits in the end. So that's the best reason why you should be owning a property as compared to renting.
Okay, thank you so much, Indranil.
Before I go, Ramneet, do you have anything to add to that?
Thank you. My next question is for Ramneet. When we start looking for a house, we also have to go and get a pre-approval done. So what is the benefit of getting a pre-approval done, and how does it help in the home buying process?
Thank you, Indranil. And it's one of the biggest things that we all forget, that a pre-approval is such an important aspect of it. Your starting point should always be from getting your pre-approval. That means you need to know how much can you buy it for. Like, you can't be just flying by the seat of your pants. You need to be knowing, hey, based on my income, this is what I can buy. And looking at the number that you have, you are going with more realistic approach. You're able to work with the realtor, look at the places where you can afford to buy. You know what you will be in for less disappointments, because if you are going in and you're looking at places where the houses are sold for 1 million, while your capability is only for 800, you're in for disappointments, right? So I think your approach is going to be more focused. You are not doing lowball offers at that point, and I think that will come up in a lot of our conversation. You will hear on both sides, from the pre-con as well as from, not in the pre-con, but more so in the resale as well. And then you also would know that if I can afford $800,000 based on my income, and I think I have the ability to put another 50 grand because I have somebody who can help me. I have some money coming from India or a family member or a parent helping me, then I'm able to buy a home for 850. So I think it's a realistic approach before we start to sort of begin and look for how much, what type, what size of the home, right? 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom, detached, semi-detached, all of it will matter once you actually get the pre-approval. So that's your starting point in your home buying process. Anything, Indranil, that you want to add to that?
Well, thank you, Ramneet. No, that was good. But along with that, in today's market, with the way everything is going, everybody's looking for a firm offer. No seller is going to accept a conditional offer. These things were applicable 5-6 years ago when you could put in an offer on a house and put a condition for financing and inspection. Nowadays, it is selling on the very day. So if you don't have a pre-approval, you are just, you're not ready to buy that house. So whenever I get a buyer, we always encourage them, get the pre-approval first. Let's talk to the mortgage broker. Let's find out exactly what you're capable of, and then let's move forward. And then it's a win-win situation. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. আমি একটা ছোট্ট স্টোরি শেয়ার করবো। আমার একজন বন্ধু আছে যার সাথে আমি কথা বলছিলাম এটা নিয়ে। তো সে হলো সিঙ্গেল আর্নার, ওয়াইফ হলো হাউস ওয়াইফ। তো সে এরকম প্রি অ্যাপ্রুভাল নিয়েছে রিসেন্টলি, আর নিয়ে দেখলো যে সে এরকম 500 বা 600 ওই টাকারই লোন পাবে। তো তারপরে সে ডিসাইড করলো যে ঠিক আছে, তাহলে আমি দেখি আমার ওয়াইফও যদি এবার জয়েন করতে পারে কোথাও। প্লাস সে নিজেও এবার চাকরি চেঞ্জ করার চেষ্টা করছে যাতে একটু বেটার স্যালারি হয়, যাতে তারপরে দুজনের কম্বাইন্ড স্যালারি দিয়ে প্রি অ্যাপ্রুভালটা একটু বেড়ে যায়। তো আগে থেকে প্রি অ্যাপ্রুভাল করালে অবভিয়াসলি অনেক বেটার। তো এগুলো প্লিজ মাথায় রাখবেন। নেক্সট কোয়েশ্চেন ইজ ফর Indranil. What kind of property do we want to buy? There are many different kind of properties like condo, townhouse, semi-detached, detached. So how should we choose between them?
Thank you, Indrajit. So this question has a huge, it could be a huge answer, or I would try to shorten it as much as possible. Everybody has their choice of lifestyle. Some people, they want to live in the city of Toronto. They don't care what kind of property they live in. For them, condo living is perfect. They don't want to shovel the snow. They don't want to cut the grass. They are comfortable with that lifestyle. So for them, the condo would be the perfect thing. On the other hand, there are other people that because of COVID and when they're working from home, they would rather live in a spacious place where they have a workstation inside their house for themselves and for their wives. So for them, they are looking for something bigger space. So obviously, depending on their affordability, they would either go for a detached if they can. Obviously, that is the best. And then if they cannot, then they go down to a semi or a town, or in some cases, if they can't afford that, first they try for a condo townhouse and then a condominium. So that's how, I think that's how it's the opinion is formed as to what kind of house they will buy. And if Ramneet, you want to add anything to that?
I think, Indranil, you captured the biggest point is, your preference. What do you want? And affordability. If you can afford to buy a semi-detached because your affordability is coming up to that much, then you have no choice but to go with it. But homeownership is the time, is the now.
Okay. Thank you so much. I think one of the most important points is also that we should consider is whether we are willing to spend time every weekend cleaning, cutting grass or shoveling the snow. So I do have a few friends who I met recently who actually sold their house and moved on to a condo because they didn't want to spend all that time every weekend. So very good points. Thank you so much, Ramneet and Indranil. Now, let me ask a few questions from pre-construction. My first question is for Sid. what is a pre-construction property? Many of us don't even know. Actually, I even didn't know this a few months back. So can you please explain what a pre-construction property is?
So pre-construction, as the name suggests, is something which is sold before the construction, right? And there are several stages to it, and what stage the builder is at, what stage the developer is at. A lot of times, house is sold when the person who's selling the house don't even own that land. They might be in a contract. Then there's so many different stages that the pre-construction can be done. So it's basically a stage of sales where this home is not built yet, but you're buying it based on the floor plans and the site plan and the location. So I would say it's a leap of faith for people who are doing pre-construction. 80 out of 100 times it hits the target. It hits the financial targets and stuff like that, thanks to the market that we are having right now. If you go to the Calgary market, it's kind of different. There is no appreciation, but somebody is looking to get some return out of monthly rent and all that, a cash flow. That is possible in Calgary. And obviously the entry levels are much lower. You can get a very good house for even $180,000 in Calgary.
Okay.
Right? So that is pre-construction. It gives you time. There is a lot of advantages that probably we'll discuss down the line, and some challenges as
well. Okay, thank you so much.
Also, I would like to add something else here.
Yeah.
In any transaction in resale or pre-construction, as people always say that we went to the builder and we bought a house. Usually, even for the builders, a lot of times builders don't have an employee sitting there selling homes. Those are the realtors. So in any transaction, there is a listing side and there is a cooperating side. So a lot of people think that they've bought it from the builders, but actually they've bought it from another brokerage which is representing the builders. So that you need to understand the dynamics of the game better.
And this is something that that me as a customer would not be able to understand the details, right? That is where the
Correct.
realtor would help.
Correct. And depending on the market, a realtor can really play a key role to give you a good value for that property, or to guide you where to go, where not to go. He might know the builders better than the customer themselves. The builders might have had a very patchy track record in the past. So the realtors would know that, right?
Or otherwise, like some of the builders, they have got very bad, review, but they are good builders.
Exactly. So, the realtor has to play their part to guide their clients accordingly, right? Ultimately, it's the clients which matter at the end of the day.
Okay, thank you so much. Anything you would like to add, Suman?
No, Sid more or less covered it all. So pre-construction is one of the strategies you can have for owning your first home, new home investment.
Okay, thank you. Next question is for Suman. So why would anybody buy a pre-construction property?
Pre-construction basically comes with lots of added advantages. Let's say it comes with warranty, because all the pre-constructions are warranted by Tadian in two aspects. One is for the deposit, and second is for the build itself. You are getting a better price because in resale, the profit part is included in the sale price, right? But here you are getting at the base price from the builder. Another important thing which I feel for many of the first-time home buyers is that you get a time to save the money for your unit. So you are not paying the entire sum of money upfront. You're paying over a period of time. Sometimes it can extend even 3 years or 4 years, depending on the builder and the project. So that's another very important aspect. You can go and see the, how the project is going to look like in a presentation center. Under the present scenario of COVID, it's not happening, but that is something which people have, can take advantage of. Appreciation, another very important thing, like most of the pre-constructions, by the time they finish, gets at least 20 to 30% appreciation right away. from the word go. Many of the cases where you are getting pre-construction, you are getting right to lease if you are an investor. So after the time of occupation, you have the opportunity to lease that. And when you do that, you are looking at a positive cash flow, right? Pets, yes, of course, and mortgage, comes in at the time of final closing, right? So there are a few things which are in the positive side for buying a pre-construction property. Sid, anything from you?
Yeah, would I like to add something here is that when the builders do the pricing of any pre-construction project, right? They always price in future. So for example, if you're buying something today, you're probably paying next year's price. But our profit is the gap where the builders leave off, where they leave some money on the table, where the market goes like this, and the builder's projection is like this. The gap is basically the profit, right? If the builders had their way, they would not leave any money on the table, and that's the reason why people like to buy pre-construction, because most of the times there's always a gap, and people do make money depending on the location, depending on the access. A lot of times when you buy a pre-construction on platinum access, when the platinum phase is released, that's when the new project is launching, for example, right? And there's only a few platinum agents who actually work at that time. Even we as agents, where we don't have platinum access on the projects, we like to buy on that platinum access period. Because after the platinum is over, when it's open for the other realtors and public, usually the price goes up 50,000, 60,000. I'm not saying that that's not a right time to buy. As we say in real estate, the best time to buy real estate was yesterday and 2 years back. So that always stays true in that time as well. But it's always beneficial, you have the time to play with when you're buying pre-construction.
Okay, thank you. Next question is for Sid. Can you explain the whole process of a pre-construction from beginning to end? How do we go about it? And
yeah, so the first thing is choice of location. So if I were to buy a pre-construction, I will choose the location. And definitely the realtor will play a big part in that. That is one. The other thing is my kind of work that I'm doing for a living. That will play a big role, because if I'm working from home, location usually does not matter. We have sold a lot of homes in Niagara, for example, where people have been working from home. They only need high-speed internet connection, right? So location is the first choice. So once you decide the location, then you select the price and obviously the type of house that you're after. Once you select the layout and everything, obviously you select the builder. So everything comes in together at that stage: builder, the pricing, site plan, the floor plan. Once everything is decided, okay, I want a 2,000 square feet home for roughly $950,000 in St. Catharines, for example. So once you zero down on that, you go to the builder. Obviously, you try to negotiate at that point of time if they can do something. In this market, is take it or leave it kind of a thing. So you should go grab that property if that is a situation. Once you sit down with the builder, there are two kinds of deals that happen in real estate. One is a firm deal, one is a conditional deal. Same as resale. So builders like firm deals. They don't want to go back and forth on any deal. But if there is a room to negotiate, or for them to at least ask for the APS wherein you can show to the lawyer and seek their view, and if there is any point to discuss, you can discuss that over. So there may be a review clause there for the lawyer. There may be a clause for financing as well. Financing clause does not really apply much on pre-construction as much as it applies on resale properties. So financial clause is not that important, as long as the realtor and the person thinks that they're pretty much 80% okay to close the house when it comes up for closing 2 years down the line. After that is done, the deal is made, the deal is signed, and obviously the deposits are given. That is one of the consideration, is part of the contract process. So once the conditions are all met, you fulfill the conditions, the deposits are paid, then comes the time when the builder actually starts building the project. Depending on the type of the builder and the kind of customer service that they provide, they might call you for a structural review, for that matter, right? So you go in for the structural review, you say you want this wall bigger, this room smaller, bigger, an ensuite here, ensuite there. So you discuss all that structural changes, which cannot be done at a later part once the building permit is approved, right? So once that is done, the builder starts building. Around that time, they'll call you for the decor appointment. That is where you choose the interior finishes, right? So you choose your backsplash, you choose your counters, you choose your taps, mirrors, and all that. Once that is done, pretty much, then you have to wait till the house is finished. Before the house is finished, they'll call you for something which is called a pre-delivery inspection, which is very important because that is the first step wherein you step into the Tarion warranty program. So that is needed to validate if there is any shortcomings in the house. You need to, take it down. Obviously, representative from the builder is there, and you are there. You may take your home inspector. That is recommended because they see things that we don't. So obviously, there is a list that is prepared for the builders, and that list, along with photographs and evidences, is uploaded on the Tarion warranty portal. Now, Tarion, the website is tarion.com. Everybody can go there and see what is covered in Tarion and all that. It's a very comprehensive website, basically designed to keep the builders honest, and it protects your deposit as well as the house as well. So once the Tarion, the PDI is done, then obviously 3-4 months before closing, you start working on your mortgage. You work with your mortgage broker, make sure everything is in place. And then you go in for the closing, depending on any challenges or not, if the closing happens on time or not. Usually, if there is a delay in closing, there is a penalty that is called a per diem penalty, which is charged by the builder. There may be legal costs associated to it. So make sure you play your mortgage game very solid, so you are not running into these troubles with the builder. Nowadays, what's happening is, especially with pre-construction, is if you buy a house at 700,000, builders are looking for these kind of opportunities to throw you out of the deal. If you default on closing, they'll give you one chance and then you're done. They'll take the same house, forfeit the deposit, and sell the same house for 200,000 more.
Okay.
So this is a point that needs to be, addressed properly. And then once the closing is done, that's it. You move in, enjoy the new house. Just make sure that you log into the Tarion, register yourself as an owner, right? Because you paid into the program, might as well follow it through. And then there is after 1 month, there is another inspection for the Tarion. And after 1 year, there is another one. And then the coverage goes on structurally for 7 years. And it covers you for 2 years for all the systems, HVAC, ventilation, plumbing and all that, electrical. Do you want to add something?
No, I think that's fine.
So that's pretty much the process, how it goes, the life cycle.
There will be a little bit of change if it's closing on assignment, if assignment comes in.
And also, yes, if somebody wants to assign, looking at this market, a lot of people have jumped into the assignment boat. So if they want to assign, obviously that's one time that they can realize their profit and get out. Or if they want to go ahead and close the house, rent it out, or live in it themselves, it's up to them.
Thank you so much. That was a very detailed answer. I do have a question on this. So at what stage do we have to do pre-approval for a pre-construction?
Usually, some builders do ask for pre-approval letter upfront when you're signing the deal. So that is a very conditional letter. Anybody can get the letter. There are like 10,000 conditions on it. Some builders do ask for a firm approval.
Firm approval.
Right? So there we have to make sure that the client is really solid. Like some of the condo builders, surprisingly, which is closing 6 years down the line, are asking for a firm approval. It's not nice. It's like the brokers can do it, but some banks are qualifying them. So that is one thing that they ask for upfront. And then usually once you're down the line, you're halfway in the build, you're 4 months, 5 months away from the closing. That's the time when you need to have a serious discussion with the mortgage broker. They need about 4 months. Nowadays, with the kind of volume that they are experiencing, the mortgage underwriters are not even touching the files for 3 weeks after they're put in by the brokers. So make sure you have enough time in hand when you're going in for the mortgage. At least 4 months, I would say.
Okay, so but you mentioned they're asking for a firm approval at the very beginning. So when somebody is like in today's market, when somebody is going for resale, then these banks only promise like a pre-approval only, which is only valid for, let's say, 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And in pre-construction, they're expecting 4 years in advance. In 4 years, I can lose a job. Many things can happen.
Yeah. So that's what I said. Like, even though they're asking, it may not be relevant because it's not going to carry over for 6 years, but they're looking for a firm approval for the next 12 months or so. It's not that they want a pre-approval
Okay.
approval all the way up to the closing.
But are the banks giving for 12 months?
Yes, they do.
Okay.
For this kind of pre-construction projects, they do. And
Okay.
some of the builders are actually quite particular about this, and like they go back to the banks to verify that these approval letters have actually come from the banks.
Okay. But the mortgage is only at the very end, like after 2 or 3 years or 4 years, when we are doing the
When you are
closing,
closing.
that is when the
Yeah, when
mortgage
you're
is
closing.
actually applicable.
Correct. But even before closing, 4 months or 5 months before closing, that is the time where you need to really get down with your mortgage broker and sit down, have a word with them, and start the file at that point of time.
Okay.
Always keep some time in hand, because this is where the mortgage brokers will take advantage of you. If you're running out of time and they don't have time, they'll push you to private financing. That's the worst thing that I can imagine for my buyers. So I always prepare them 4 months beforehand.
Okay. Thank you so much. We've had quite a few questions from pre-construction. Now we'll go over to resale. This question is for Ramneet. So we do see that houses are getting listed for 900K, just for example, but they are getting sold for more than 200K extra. So how do you determine the price of a house in today's market? And any hints on putting a revised offer when the margin is very close? So two questions.
No, thank you, Indrajit, because it's a two-part question. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to address the first one that ties in with the second half of it. So the way you've placed is actually perfect. So the first is when the house is listed for 900 and gets sold for 200 over ask. And that's the common word that we use. What the seller is telling the public is primarily, hey, I'm listing my home for 900. That doesn't tell you that I'm willing to sell it for 900. That tells you that, okay, ready, tell me how much you love my home, and start to put. So that's a strategy that has it has come about in the last, I would say, since 2016, sort of it changed the world. We used to have it before, but not that prevalent. Now it is so common that the buyers and sellers have also gotten used to it. So even if I list my home for the right market value of today, of now, the buyer will automatically think that I have to pay 200,000 over ask. So it's a bit of a strategy. It's a marketing strategy. It's a selling strategy, and it's okay because that's just an announcement of my home being coming into the market for a certain price. So how do we determine the price for it? We have tons, as a realtor, we have tons of data available. We have trending. We have years worth of neighborhood reports that we look at. We look at the market that is being happening in the most recent time. We look at within the first month. We look at within the 1 week. We look at within the 6 months. That depends on how the market is. We look at that. It's not the average that we look at it. We look at all the comparisons that we do with the same type of homes, the size of the homes, the number of bedrooms, and then we come back with a particular sort of a price point based on the adjustments that we do. Plus, we also have access to that public information that is shared with everybody. You know it. What is it that the trending has been year over year? We've seen in the last year, in November up until now, we've had almost 2% of increase every month, sorry. So if you're looking at that, you also have that knowledge that, okay, if last month a home sold for 900, now I add another 2% of it, and that brings me to that market. If I were to beat the market, what am I supposed to be doing to make sure that I beat that bid, right? Then you come up with a number that other bidders are not able to sort of jump over it. So that's the basic sort of information. The information that public has is a very good information that you can use, but a realtor has more in-depth. We have the past, the current of that particular address, and that helps us to drive the seller's motivation. We are able to get in touch with the seller's agent. We're able to sort of see what the motivation of that seller is, and that helps us to sort of give you a good price point, and that helps us to place the market pricing. What rule, is there any rule that you said that allows us to go back and put a revised offer? Absolutely. There are a number of rules, but you have to also remember that if you've seen, you have the data now, House Sigma shares it, realtor.ca has it, Zillow has it, and everybody knows about these brokerages. They are online digital brokerages. You have access to it. You can see if the house all around have sold for $1 million. And if you want to put a low bid for 850, that's not going to fly, right? So that's an important aspect of it that you must remember. Up until the seller makes the decision, you can continue to put revised offer. You can continue. You can put an offer again. You can put another offer again till the seller decides. So that's one. The second is this, that if there are 30 people that are putting an offer, and we know if 30 bidders are there, all 30 will not get a time to go back and change their offer and bring back the revision. The top, at the most, the listing agent will allow is 3 top bids that they'll go back and say, do you want to go back and revise and give me the best offer that you have? So those are the top 3. If you're bringing in 850 for $1 million home, you're not going to be in the top 3, right? And that's where you lose it. So you won't be able to come back and put your best offer, even if you have the opportunity to put back number of revised offers. So I think the importance is that you remember that you go in with your best foot forward, you go in with the best that you can do, and then, you know, that's the thing, and listen to your professional advice, because that is so important. We know the world, we know the real estate market, we know what is, how to price a certain thing, and that would help you as well. Anything that, Indranil, you want to add to it?
Yeah, hi, Ramneet. When we came up with this question, I would take a little different approach to this, to answering this question, because I think for anyone who's looking for resale in today's market, this is one of the most frustrating things that they face, that, oh, I'm looking at something on MLS and then later on finding out that it is selling for 100 or 200,000 more than asking price. So the first thing, if you're working as a buyer agent, that we are trying to educate the buyers is that you have to figure out, if 900 is the max that you can go for a house, what kind of house are you going to get in that price range? So that is the most important thing to determine. That will reduce the level of frustration, because if you're looking at realtor.ca or Zillow or any other websites and you look at a house listed for $699 and the next day you find out that that's sold for $1 million, obviously you will get all frustrated and you're going to think, oh, I will never be able to buy a house because it's selling for 300, 400. So the first way to overcome that is to talk to your realtor and try to figure out what exactly can you afford within the price range that you are qualified for. So that's, I think that would also be a different way, and exactly what Ramneet said, that we do have the tools and everything to kind of help you guide in that direction, right? Because just because somebody is listing it for $699 doesn't mean the house is worth $699. It might be a $900,000 house, and there is no law against it that the owner or his realtor cannot list it for $699. So that is very important to understand, and that is one question that we face all the time with any buyer that is getting into the market today. As far as that second question is concerned about revised offer. So again, when you're putting an offer on any house, so you go and see X amount of houses with your realtor. And then at the end of the day, at the very end, you decide that, oh, this is the one that we really like. So how does that process work? So you go back, and as a realtor, he will come up with the comparables, and he will tell, okay, based on the location of the house, as to what is sold in that neighborhood, the size of the house, the amount of upgrades that has been done, this is what the ballpark of what that the price should be. Now you are in a competing offer. So obviously you want to try to put your best foot forward going in. You, like Ramneet said, you can't expect to put where houses are selling for $1 million, you can't expect to go for 850 and expect wonders. It doesn't really work like that. You have to do an educated approach to this, and then only you have a better chance of winning the bid as to coming in and thinking, oh, we will lowball this and let's see what happens. Like Ramneet said, if there are like more than 10 offers, the listing realtor doesn't have the time to go back to everybody and say, improve the offer, improve the offer. They will only deal with the ones which are on the topmost. And even if you really know inside yourself that, yes, I can go up to $1 million, but you're sitting at 850, hoping that they will come back, then you're losing out on the chance for getting that house. I think that's it for me. Thank you.
No, I think that's another aspect that you touched on, Indranil, and that there's another question that I know we've got in mind, that honesty is the most important. And I think I've heard a number of times from my buyers that they say, never tell your top number to your realtor because they'll make you buy it for that much. No, we've got absolutely no interest in making you buy anything higher than what it is worth. Because again, remember I had said before that we are not here to sell you once, we are here to sell you every time you're ready to come into the market. And it's about relationships. So we can do that. Do people exist like that? Of course they do. But I think it's important to be honest and then sort of build that relationship so that we as realtor can do the best for you and guide you to the best of your interest, not our interest.
You're absolutely right, Ramneet. And that kind of ties into the first question that Indrajit asked about what to look for in a realtor. And that's why the reputation of the realtor, the testimonials, or what they have done for other people really does matter. Because you are right, there are people out there that they're in just for that sale. But if you are working with a realtor who is looking for a long-term proposition, as they want to invest that time and effort with you for your lifetime, that's the person who you have a better chance of, they will be honest with you than somebody who's just there to sell something and run away.
Okay, thank you so much, Ramneet and Indranil. That was a very important question, and I think we got the answer that we were looking for. I do have one question on this. When we put an offer, does every buyer agent get to see the number of offers that were put on that house?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
What happens, let me just elaborate just 2 minutes on it. So what happens is the moment we register an offer, automatically by law, any number of offers that come to that house, we get a notification every time. So like it keeps on getting emails. So at the end of the day, we know exactly how many offers that house got before one got accepted.
Okay, but you don't get to know what they offered. You only get to know the number of offers.
Yeah, it is a blind offer. So yeah, you don't get to know what the offer or what the conditions are. It's only when the house gets sold the following day, then only you find out how much did you lose or did you get the house that amount.
Okay, and let's say I am the best offer, but still the seller agent is telling me to improve my offer. How would I get to know that he's not bluffing?
Well, think about it this way. We already talked about getting a pre-approval done. So you know, and I know that 900 is the most that you can go up to. So you might gamble 10,000, 20,000, 15,000 maximum, or 25,000 or 30,000 maximum, but you can't go over that. So really doesn't matter how much that other realtor pushes you. In today's market, that's the most. So you will, yes, but you won't find out that if they are actually being truthful about it or they are trying to increase the price. So that little part of it is obviously gambling. What do you think, Ramneet? Am I saying that right?
No, absolutely. And I think what I was telling, when it kind of add to it perfectly what you said it, was this that realtor is doing the job for their client. And that's all their focus is, to get the best for their seller, right? We are on the opposing side of it. We are not enemies of each other at that point. We're just opposing. I, as a realtor, I'm trying to pull this side, and that realtor on the other side is pulling more towards the side. And if he or she doesn't do it, I think they've not done their job. They need to go back and see, do you squeeze you more to see? Do you have more in your pocket? Give me, right? And like Indranil said, if you've reached your max and you say, sorry, guy, don't have any more, right? And done with it. So they sign back an acceptance, or they move on to the next one who has a better offer than you.
Okay. So I do have a few more questions on this, but I will not proceed right now. I'll save them for later. Another thing I would like to mention is that we are halfway through our session and we have a lot of questions left. I would like, since there are so many people that have joined, I would like to give them at least 20 to 30 minutes to ask more clarifying questions. So that means whatever questions are left, we will have to try and complete them within the next 30 minutes. So I would request the panelists to be as short and try to give your answers as shortly as possible. Next question is for Indranil. What is a firm versus conditional offer? Usually for buying a house nowadays, they're only expecting firm offers. So how can I make such a huge investment without putting any conditions in the agreement?
Yeah, this is a real life problem these days. Traditionally, in the real estate market, whenever we put offers before, we would negotiate the price, but it would be a conditional offer based on financing and inspection. If it is a condo, then you add the status certificate clause to it. But in today's market, where the demand is so high compared to the supply, those conditions have gone through the window, and now you have to give firm offers. Now, one of the things, like what we spoke about before, as far as your financing is concerned, we are encouraging people to get pre-approved right from the beginning. So we know that at least for that amount, they are good to go. So at least we are good on that aspect of it, that the financing is taken care of. The second thing, it comes to the home inspection. Yes, we do understand that home inspection is very important, especially when you're buying such a huge investment for yourself. This is where the experience of the realtor comes in. When you are working in this industry for a while and you have gone through so many home inspections yourself, you kind of get an idea as to what are the conditions of the house. And usually what the realtor would do, as they are showing the house, they would go ahead with every aspect of it, not just the cosmetics and how the house looks, but different aspects of it, like the roof, the furnace, the air conditioning, the windows, what are the state of it. So they will already guide you as to, okay, this is how the house is. These are the things that could go wrong. So at least you have some, it doesn't replace the whole idea of getting the home inspection done, but it gives you an idea that, okay, I am getting into something, this is the amount I'm spending. Say for instance, like I would always tell them, okay, the roof, you might have to change it in the next 2 or 3 years. And this is what the approximate cost of it is going to be. So they know that I might have these costs associated with me in the coming years. So they are not totally blindfolded. That's the best advice that I can give for in today's market when you are not going in without the condition. What I've also encouraged people is that once they have bought it, to get a home inspection done after that, just so that they know what the state of the house is, that they can prepare themselves to the next 5-year plan, that, okay, I need to change the furnace maybe in 1 or 2 years, so I can budget accordingly. I think that was a fast answer.
No, that was a very good answer. Thank you so much. But one question here, do realtors really get into that much detail where they go and look at the house in such detail and tell the buyer that, yes, these are the things that are wrong with the house?
Well, that's how you choose your realtor.
No, but how do I get to choose? I wouldn't even know in advance whether he's going to do all those things.
That's when you have to do your research and find out who you want to work with. Okay. Not every Tom, Dick, and Harry will do that for you. And that's why that first question, what to look in a realtor, comes into play. And especially in today's world, you have Google reviews, you have Facebook, you have their websites, you go through them, you study and see, is this the person? You talk to the people that they have worked with, and you find out, is this the person that I can work with? Is this an honest realtor? Is he going to do the work for me? That's very important.
Okay, thank you so much, Indranil. Next question is for Ramneet. What are the pitfalls to avoid while buying?
So I think no better way to answer than the answer that you just got previously. Look for somebody that is always going to be acting in your best interest. Engage a professional. Engage somebody who has the knowledge and experience. And I think we've already gone through the first question that we answered, what to look for a realtor. So something that is a perfect segue to it is making sure you work with somebody who's qualified, who is experienced, has number of transactions under their belt. You remain connected. This is your own home. You remain connected with that realtor and be honest with them. That is also important. Keep a realistic approach to it. You know, if your pre-approval is for that a certain amount, you must be able to sort of keep yourself that I'm not looking for a home that with my pre-qualification for 850, I'm looking for a home somewhere in the high categories of, let's say, Forest Hill in North York, right? Where homes only start from 2 million and over. So I think that realistic approach is something that we have to have. And also an attitude where we say, maybe I have a chance. Why don't you put it for 850? Maybe the seller will give it to me for 850. No, that's not going to happen. So I think that's where you start opening yourself for expectation. Also remember one more thing is this, that, and I've always had that question come back from my buyers to say, how do I know that I have paid more than I should have paid? And I always tell them that always remember that if you have the home, that means there were two things that happened. Either your terms were the best that matched the seller's expectation, or the amount that you gave, you were the highest bidder amongst them. How much, we'll never know. Maybe there was a difference of 50 grand. Maybe there was a difference of just 5,000. Maybe there was a difference of 1,000. And my buyers have lost for 1,000 as well. So it is all about business deals. The seller is selling the product. They're not looking at you. They're selling their product. They want to make the maximum out of that. They get the maximum. Even if it is $1,000, it does make a difference because 99% of that money goes into the seller's pocket, does not come to the realtor. That doesn't amount to it. So keep that in mind. And also making sure that you choose the home that is fitting your budget. So I think the biggest pitfall that anyone can avoid is knowing your budget, working with a very experienced realtor that you can really work together with, where you also have the ability to feeling comfortable to say, you know what, whatever you are saying, I'm not agreeing with it, but having that comfort level to be able to have that healthy conversation with them. So I think that's pretty much sort of for any pitfalls, unless Indranil, you have something to add to it. So.
No, we're good. You answered everything. Thank you. No, very good.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ramneet. Next question is for Indranil. What should we keep in our mind during the first and second visit before closing?
This is a very easy answer. So what happens is usually when you go out to see homes, you're looking at 5 to 10 homes at one shot in a given day. And then you are deciding on the ones that you want to put an offer, you put the offer, you become the lucky winner, you get the house. But then you forget about what the house looks like. So the first visit is usually you go back and you kind of look around and see what exactly did you buy. You also want to see that the state of all the appliances, the chattels and fixtures, and to make sure that this is what you actually paid for. And then at the same time, you are taking measurements for furniture. This is a very exciting time. It's almost like the pre-con when you're going and doing your selection for designs. In a resale, you're coming and kind of figuring it out where it's going to be your office, where it's going to be, what kind of furniture you're going to put. That's going to all happens in the first visit. And the second visit, what we usually like to do is we like to keep it just a few days before the closing happens, just to make sure that the house is in the same state what we bought, and there are no damages or nothing is broken, everything is in working order. You kind of get that feel once you get into the house, and you can see that, yes, they have maintained the house. So you feel kind of safe that, okay, now I can go ahead and close. If anything is wrong and the transaction is not closed yet, that's the time when you can find out as to what are the things that you can do in order to have a smooth closing. Thank you. Ramneet, you want to add anything to that?
So one question on that, Indranil.
Sure.
Most of the offers are firm offers, so there are no conditions. So, so let's say some pipe is broken or in the kitchen or something. So would we be, as a buyer, would we be in a position to ask them to fix them?
That's a very good question. So any standard offer that is done, the chattels and fixtures are supposed to be in good working order till the day of closing.
Okay.
So when you do come into the house and you see that everything is, your realtor would help you with that everything is in working order. And say, for instance, it happened to me just a few days ago. The furnace broke in somebody's house in the middle of winter, and the closing was just last week. So obviously, when we came in for the revisit, we could figure out that the house was cold, right? Because nobody would shut the furnace off in today's weather. So, but the realtor already, the selling realtor already had informed us that they were in the process of replacing the furnace. So most of the time, people are they do take a conscious effort to hand over the house in the state that they have sold it. But just as a precautionary measure, we should have that last revisit. Ramneet, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I think you touched a very good, and I had a similar situation with another of my clients like that. But one more thing you must remember, the day that you close the home, the buyer becomes responsible for that day, for everything. Something that happens the very next day, what Indranil shared is one of the unique situations where the seller knew of it and they knew of the issues and they were willing to rectify that. But sometimes the sellers don't know of an issue that may have happened, but it happens after, after you've taken it over. Can something be done with that? I think that that's the most important aspect of it, is that you must remember as a buyer, once the home closes, either you can drag your feet through it, through the legal system. That's the only way you can do it and spend more money. Or you can just go ahead and just prepare it for a few hundreds or a couple of thousand and then go ahead and move from there. But remember that buyer becomes responsible for that home from the day they close. The day they close, they're responsible for everything.
Okay, thank you so much. Now let's ask a few questions on pre-construction. So this is for Sid. Sid, what is not included in the price of a house in pre-construction?
It's nothing standard as such. It all depends on what the offering is by the builder. A lot of builders want to give you a very upgraded house. In that case, they would charge you for whatever upgrades they might have put in. A lot of builders, they design their house in a very basic way. So a lot of people can actually buy a livable home and they can do the upgrades according to their wish or according to their budget, right? Not everybody needs a granite countertop. They can usually use a laminate countertop, for example. But the very moment that the builder puts in a granite or a quartz, the price goes up by $10,000.
Yes.
It might just be costing $3,000, but everything else is upcharge and labor and this and that. Sometimes it's better to buy a house which is not that upgraded and then do it yourself rather than letting it by the builders to do it. Other downside of that is probably any upgrades that the builder does goes into the purchase price, and that can be mortgaged. In the other situation, you're paying from your pocket, right? That's another thing. Obviously, there are closing costs which are not included, which is land transfer tax. The carry-on fees is not included in the purchase price. You have your lawyer, you have to pay him. Any grading deposits that might be is not included. There is a schedule in the APS, Agreement of Purchase and Sale, where it actually lists what is included in the house to the T. So you will know exactly what is included in the house just by reviewing your agreement with the lawyer, and he'll be able to tell you exactly what is included in the purchase price.
Okay, thank you so much. My next question is for Suman. How to choose a project or a builder?
This is a very subjective question, but I would say the first and foremost thing, where do you want to invest or where do you want to buy your property? That's probably the primary thing which drives, how to choose a project. Builder, yes, you have to go through, the background of the builder, and that's where probably the realtors would be able to help you out with. So your specific requirement of what kind of property you're looking at, which location you're looking at, what are the kind of finishes which are available in the price that you are paying for the pre-construction. Go to online reviews for the builder, see what kind of past projects they have done. Has there been any failed projects or not? That's probably one of the biggest red flag we also look for, that whether this builder has got any failed projects before.
Okay.
So you really, if you want to sum up, that's the things that you look at.
Okay, thank you so much. Next question is for Sid. How much down payment is needed in a pre-construction project? Do all projects require 20% down payment before closing?
Okay, now there are two parts to it. One is a builder deposit, and other is a deposit that the bank wants from you in order to process the mortgage application. Correct?
Okay.
So the builder deposit, typically speaking, in a pre-construction freehold, they're looking at probably around 10%, right? Any of these projects coming up in Caledon or even Oakville right now, there's homes starting from 2.4 million. They're looking at 250,000 or 300,000, typically around 10 to 12% for freehold homes. And when it goes to condos, they're looking at 15 to 20% down, right? It all depends on the project itself, how much the builder needs. Sometimes the builders give you an incentive. Some projects, they just give you a flat deposit of 50,000. So that varies a lot depending on the builders, how deep the pockets are. In case of Daniels, they don't need any, they get you at a 5% deposit because they are not depending on our deposit to finance their project. They have deeper pockets, they go ahead and build the project. They just take 5% deposit. They want a firm approval. They close the project within 6 to 8 months, deal done, right?
Okay.
But something like a pre-construction in Mississauga, 60-story building, 6 years down the line. So they are looking for 15% down over 1 year period. Sometimes the period can be 2 years. It all depends how much deposit and how long, right?
Depends on.
And the other part of the thing is when it comes to time for your mortgage, that's when the bank is going to tell you how much deposit you need to qualify for that mortgage. It could be a high ratio mortgage at 10%. It could be a conventional at 20%. It could be somebody who's downsizing. They are putting down 50%. It all depends. But there is no hard and fast. There is a minimum requirement from the builder. Other than that, it all depends from project to project.
Thank you so much. Will my deposit be protected? This deposit that I'm giving to the builder, will this be protected?
Yeah, this deposit is protected under the Tarion. There's a kind of slab to it. So any home price which is up to 600,000, 60,000 is protected deposit up to 60,000. And if the home prices are between 600,000 and above, so it's 10% up to a limit of 100,000. That's what is protected. And it's, I think, 20,000 for the condos. Yeah, it's 20,000 for
but
the
because
condos.
the condos goes to the lawyers.
To the lawyer's
so
trust account.
Anyways, they are protected.
Anyways, they are protected. Indrajit, किधर खो गए भाई?
Sorry. So now I have a question on this. So you said this is protected, but there is recently 2-3 months back, there was a builder called Pace. I think
Yeah.
you might have heard the news that they were selling up. They were asking a buyer to pay 100K more after
Yeah.
they've completed.
Mhm.
And
The phase one.
Phase
yeah,
one.
phase one. Yeah. So how often do we see things like this?
No, this is very rare. You don't see that at all with Pace. I know Pace myself. Like we have sold more than 45 units over there. I bought a unit myself in Pace, and it's going pretty well. This only applied for the first 20 stack homes that were sold at dirt cheap price, and they were given an option. I must point out at this point, in any contract that you sign with builder is always one-sided. It's more favoring the builders than favoring you, right? But they're working through the problem, and hopefully they'll solve it. Hopefully it won't come to my house.
No,
So,
see, you have to
yeah.
understand. In between, you had this COVID thing.
Yeah.
Their construction was postponed for almost 1.5 years,
Wonderful.
and the price of lumber
Lumber.
and everything went up by 60% around
Yeah.
that time.
Yeah.
So that's why we had to. I mean, the builder had to get into this kind of scenario to finish the project.
Correct. And the other thing is, right now, the new projects, some of the new projects who are not sure about the building costs and the price of the trades and stuff like that, the builders are putting in that clause now upfront that if there is any fluctuation in the market, if it results in the price, their building price being more than the sale price, then they have the right to kind of bump up the price by so and so. And as I said, this was unforeseen. The whole COVID thing just came in and rattled everyone. So the builders will always have an upper hand on these things. A lot of projects are cancelled after 4 years, as like Icona. They took the deposit, they cancelled after 2 years, and they returned the deposit back.
Oh.
The same place which sold for $600 a square feet, now it's worth $1,200 a square feet, right? So builders will always have that. That's why under Tarion, it's a requirement for the builder, for the salesperson to actually spell out to the buyer that this project might never be completed. That's a disclosure that we give upfront when you're signing a condo, because it's a reality. That's where your realtor comes in and says, okay, hey, you know what? This builder has got a good track record. They got 45 finished projects. Go with them. You'll never have this problem.
So there I have another question. So do some agents, buyer agents, get more commissions from certain builders, which would force them to request their buyers to buy from particular builders?
This commission part is very variable. It all depends on builders, and right now the builders are cutting down on commission because it's very easy for them to sell a house. So it all depends on the market and how much they need us to sell a certain kind of a house, right? If it was so easy to sell homes, they would be selling it themselves, honestly speaking, right? But they want us, they want to keep the the realtor community going as well, and they bring value to the whole thing. So that's why everybody is in business.
Okay, thank you. Can we amend the, sorry? Okay. Next question is, can we amend the deposit structure? This is for Sid.
Yeah, you can definitely amend the deposit structure depending on how well you know the builder and the representatives. There is always some leeway there. The deposit can be amended in 2 ways. Either you can get more time or you can get a different deposit. It all depends on the mood of the builder and how much they need up, and then how much they're willing to bend backwards for you.
Okay. I'll ask one more question on Precon. Suman, this is for you. We were discussing about assignment sale. So can you please explain what an assignment sale is? What is the process? What is the cost involved? And what are the merits versus demerits? So in the merits, demerits, tell us the comparison between assignment sale versus you close it yourself?
See, the thing is that let me go to the what is assignment sales. I'll try to make it short because honestly speaking, this is a subject we can go on for next 1 hour. Assignment sale is basically when the initial buyer is signing the agreement of purchase and sell to an alternative buyer. That's called assignment sale. And that has to be duly agreed by the builder. It has to be part of the original APS that the builder is allowing the assignment. Assignment cost-wise, there would be legal fees. There might be closing cost, legal fees would be there. There would be builder fees. Sometimes builder do charge fees for assignment. There could be a fee for the agent, finder's fee, or even for that matter, if you have an agent who is selling that, there would be a selling fee as well as a buying fee for the buyer's agent. So generally, these are the fees which are associated directly with the assignment sales. Now, pros and cons, there are a lot. I mean, for investors who doesn't want to close, assignment is one of the best way to, take your profit and get out of the market. Cons, there are quite a few, especially on the taxation part of, point of view. So probably that is something which I don't want to get into right now because that's quite a, long, I would say, discussion because our time is a bit short. So I'll just try to, keep it there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. Now let's go over to resale. Let's ask a few questions on resale. What I would like to do is I would like to request everybody, if you have any questions, this is the time. Please ask your questions in the Zoom chat. That way we will know how many more questions we have. And in that case, out of the questions that we have, we can maybe skip some of our questions and we can target some of your questions. So if you have any questions that you feel have not been clarified yet, please feel free to ask those questions in the Zoom chat. We will try to answer them. I will go over to resale now. Next question is for Ramneet. What to look for before investing in real estate?
Thank you, Indrajit. And I think it is what Suman ended was it was a very good way to lead to this question, because when you do assignment sales, particularly that means either the buyer is looking to get out because they're an investor and they've put in the money, bought the home at the pre-construction stage, and now they're looking to get the money out. So that's one way of doing an investment. And so that's when you're looking for an investment, you have to be ready to understand that you have the funds, you have the ability. Again, there's that pre-approval component of it is also there. You are consulting with the right people at the table, which includes your realtor, which includes your accountant, which also includes your financial advisor, because you must know what repercussions are. As Suman said, that once you sell it out, there are taxation components and how that is done. If you do something more often, it could fall under a business, or it could be, if you're doing it one time off and on, then it could fall under a capital gain. So that's important, that you must have the right people at the table before you begin that process. Investment of what type? Something like pre-constructions, that's investment too. And then you sell it before you actually get it. Buy a resale, and then you're able to rent it out. So or if you can go ahead and get a commercial, unit that you can lease it out, rent it out to professional service providers, or even for retail purposes. So that depends on what you really want to get into it. But the important aspect of this is that beyond you sort of getting your finances and ready, there's something called preparedness to really know what an investor really means. There is a risk component, and an example that I can give you is this. Let's say you buy a home to rent it out, right? A location is very important for rentability. You must know that the money that you're spending in on a monthly basis is the amount of rent, at least that much of a rent you're getting back, even if you're not getting a positive cash flow, at least you're getting that much. And also understand that what you need to be doing as a landlord, what your rights and responsibilities are, what your rights and responsibility of a tenant that you have in your home, right? Being familiar with that piece. Other piece, I mean, just associated with that, and I'm just giving you an example so that it helps everybody to sort of align with it. That if you have a tenant who hasn't paid you, right, for about 6 months, and we've seen that in 2020, we did see some in 2021 as well, then do you have the sustainable cash finances to pay your mortgage while your tenant has not paid you for that period of time? That's one. Second is this, what if it doesn't get rented? We did see that as well in 2020 and 2021 when the renters vacated their homes and went and bought the homes, right? So do you have the funds to sustain for those 6 months or 3 months until the next tenant comes in? So I think that piece is a very important piece that you must be prepared. You must know the risk that you're getting in as an investor. And also understanding that people did refinance. And I think and then that's how they invested. Some of them, what they did was instead of buying a home for themselves to live in, they bought a home and invested it. They're not supposed to be doing it to get the first-time home buyers benefit, but many people did end up doing it. But I think also understanding that piece, that if you are getting in, you are taking the risk as an investor, you are understanding that your finances are in order, you're pre-approved. If you're refinancing, is your income sustainable to carry 2 mortgages should the rent not come true? And same applies for the commercial rents as well. We saw that even last year as well, 2020 and 2021, when the commercial people were not able to pay the rents to their landlords. So again, being ready for what an investment is, getting the right partners at the table before you begin that.
Okay,
Anything,
thank you.
Indranil?
No, you pretty much covered everything. So when you're thinking about investment, think about it like this. You're getting into business. So whenever you are getting into business, there is some risks involved in it. So obviously you're getting in there to make the money, but you have to do it in a safe way. So it's a win-win situation. So again, doing the research on it is very important. If you are buying a resale home and you want to rent it out, you have to find out what the rental market is like and how soon you can rent out that place. And like Ramneet said, you also have to be prepared just in case that 1% or 2% that if you get a bad tenant, are you okay to carry on for a few months and hopefully you can get rid of that person. If your way of thinking for an investment is pre-construction, then you do the research according to that. Or if you don't want to do either a resale or a pre-construction, then you go into an assignment sale. So these are the different things that you have to come up with before you go and invest. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll ask 2 more questions on resale. Try to keep it short. How to figure out in which area of GTA we should stay? This is for Indranil.
Well, this is again a very open question. So obviously it's going to depend on your lifestyle. It's going to depend on your way of a place of work. Before COVID hit us, the first thing, one of the biggest priority people had, that they wanted to live somewhere where it was close to their work. Now COVID has changed everything and work from home has become a big part of everybody's life. So then that whole dynamics have changed. The other thing is for young parents, they are always considering about good schools. They want to put their kids into schools where they have good ratings. So that is also and so they are determining the place of where they want to live according to the school zones. And then obviously people have choices as to neighborhoods. Some people, they want to live in a certain area. Some people, they don't want to live somewhere. So these are all intertwined. And when you talk to when you're first getting into the process, I think it's very important. And one of the things, it's very important in today's market is affordability. So once you get pre-approved and you find out this is my affordability, then we sit down and we kind of figure out these are the places that, and this is what you're going to get. Okay.
Okay.
Ramneet, anything?
Thank you so much, Indranil. My last question, actually, we do have like 5 more questions, 5 questions from Precon and 6 questions from Resale left. But I see that there are quite a few questions that have come in from our audience. If the panelists give me permission, I would like to skip our remaining questions and go over some of the questions.
Yeah, go over
Yeah,
some of the
please.
questions,
Yeah.
please. Yeah,
Okay.
because their answering their question is more important.
Yes, but there is one question I think we have in our list that I think is in everybody's mind. This is for everybody, all 4 of you can add small inputs, but keep it very short. So the question is the market going to crash? Where do you see the market going? What is the reason behind the surge in house prices? And what is the expected increase in 2022? So can all of you answer, but very, very shortly?
I can start. Well, I see the market going up. If not, it's all driven by demand and supply. And there's a lot of demand right now. It's like crazy, kind of pre-construction or even resale. Indranil knows that every house is getting multiple offers and stuff like that. So we don't see the market coming down as much, but there might be a little bit of a surge in interest rates. It won't be much, but I don't see the market crashing at all.
I'll add to that. I'll put in a little bit of math in this just for everybody to understand why he said about demand and supply difference. Just take this year, we have got about 400,000 immigrants over here. Now, historically, half of the immigrants that come into Canada settles in Ontario and half of that settles in GTA. So even if we take 400,000, we are talking about 100,000 settling in GTA this year only. Take 4 people in a family. We are talking about 25,000 families settling here, new immigrants. Add to that another 10 to 12,000 families or individuals who are homegrown kids or people who are just over here and getting ready to buy their homes. You are adding up 40,000 people or buyers every year. Do you think that much units are being built every year? No. No. So it's never going to go down. There could be a pause after climbing for some time. There could be a plateau, but again it will start climbing. And all of you, it's for all of you. If you are still thinking fence sitting, don't do that. Get into the market. The faster you get in, the better it is for you. Doesn't matter what, resale, pre-construction, whatever it is, get into the market as early as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think you said it really well, both Sid and Suman to you. And Indranil and I, we were talking about it just before the session, actually. And that's the sense. And I can tell you that 2 years ago, I had somebody who worked for RBC and she sat and she said, Ramneet, I'm looking for investment, but she's going to sit on it because it was going to crash. And I told her, it's not going to crash. We don't have the right ingredient in the market right now to make it crash, to create a bubble. We don't. The only thing is that there's a high demand and a low inventory. In 3 cities combined, if we get a listing a day, one within the 3 cities, that's a poor low, really low. Imagine the buyers are looking for, that's why we have 30 bidders there. And that's why we have buyers who are willing to say, I'm going to get in, put in another 20 grand, get me the home, right? So I think that's the reason. There's no other. Of course, low mortgage interest rates are another aspect of it. And I think Suman said one really well, is this that there will be a small windows, and which did see in 2021 between April to July, maybe early August, when people were able to get it for a good pricing. Some got it less than the listing prices, some got it a little bit over listing prices, but that's the window you will see throughout. And that's why it is important to be always in the market, to keep looking for it so that you find a deal when you get the opportunity like that.
No, I think you guys said it all well, that real estate is going to go up. But just to give a little bit of light of why the market is the way it is, one is the record low interest rate. when we have worked in this business when the interest rate was 7% and people were still buying and selling homes. So right now it's almost like the banks are giving away free money. And so if this is not the time for anybody to buy, I don't know when that time is going to come. The second thing is the number of immigrants, like Suman was telling, that is coming constantly into the country. And once COVID is over, they will be coming more and more because Canada is a young country and they need a lot of people. The third thing is investors, and investors is every one of us who owns real estate. Our home prices have gone up so high that we can easily take out equity from our home and buy a second investment or a third investment. And that is what is also driving the market. So I think these are all the factors that are not going to go away. Yes, I do understand that. I also believe that there is going to be a little bit of dip in the market sometime soon, but unless you are in the market, it happens so fast that in the last couple of years that whenever it happened, that you will miss it. So again, like everybody else is recommending, do get into the market at your earliest. Whatever you can afford, buy something, and then you will make some money eventually, because at the end of the day, real estate is a long-term investment. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Now we'll go over some of the questions that our audience has asked. So we'll start with Aditya's question. While trying to search for pre-con, so this is a pre-con question, Suman and Sid. While trying to search for pre-con, we were working with platinum brokers. They claimed exclusive rights and submitted options, but didn't end up getting anything. How do we ensure we get a unit? Is there any tip anyone could share?
Well, the simple answer to it is whatever is happening in the resale market, the same thing is happening in the pre-con market. If the project is really hot and there is one unit and there are 10 buyers, 9 people will miss out. That's exactly what is happening in the pre-con market as well. Always the pre-con project starts with the platinum phase wherein there is allocation. So nowadays the allocations are down to like 4 per agent kind of a thing, right? So if we have 15 buyers, you can give all of them a unit. The other option is they can wait it out. Once the madness goes down, probably we can get them a unit later on. But the first stage is very important. You have to be 100% sure, because nobody wants to lose their allocations, right? They want to make, we are in here for business as well. So nobody wants to lose their allocation. So take that opportunity, tell your broker, you're 100% in there, you're not backing out. And that gives them confidence to kind of, work with their application and go with that sales process. But whatever said and done, with the kind of craziness that we have, there will be hot projects and there will be people missing out, just like the resale market.
I'll just add a small example which happened today with us, me and Sid. There was a unit in Niagara. So one lady, she was interested and she kind of tried to take a little bit of time. I told her that go for it right now, don't wait. She said, I'll decide by tomorrow. And in another 15 minutes, it was gone. So if you have to take a decision, you have to take a decision right now, even in pre-construction.
I might have asked this question earlier, but I'll still ask it again. Here I see platinum broker. So how do I know that my real estate agent is a platinum broker? Or
they will have allocations. They should be able to prove to you that they have a list of allocations, and they will. I mean, it's very difficult. People don't want to give out their contacts to people they don't know, but that's how the whole business works, and everyone will agree to that as well, right? But having said that, I don't work with all the builders. I work with only a few builders, and people who know me, they know that I work with those guys. So they will have the best chance if they come to me to buy those units for those builders. I know Suman works with a builder. For that unit, I'm not going to kill myself looking for a unit. I'm going to ask Suman, give me a unit. He's going to give it to me. And, that's how you save your time and money and effort as well.
Okay, thank you so much. So I will, so if whoever's question I'm asking, if you're still not, if you still need more clarifications, what you can do is you can continue to ask your question in chat. Unfortunately, because of time, I will not be able to let you ask the question live. We will try to answer them. Next question is from Deep Banerjee. Does it make sense to wait for a pre-construction house for 2 to 3 years and live in a rented place for that long?
Well, it's maths, right? I mean, you need to run the numbers and see what are you looking at. If you are, I know some people are passionate about getting their first home and all that, but at the end of the day, it's just the dollar figure, and you're trying to make more money and come out stronger 2 years down the line. Sometimes it does make sense to kind of book a pre-construction and wait it out, and consolidate your financial position and be in a position to close that property, move to that property for a short while, and then look for the second step. But as Indranil and Ramneet and everybody agrees, this is a very fast moving train, and we have to get onto it as soon as possible. Any which way seems, makes sense.
Comfortable for you.
Okay, thank you so much. Next question, I'll direct it to Ramneet or Indranil. This is a very big question, a very generic question, but see if you can answer it in a very short way. How does refinancing mortgage to buy another investment property work?
I can take the first stab, and Indranil, you can add to it. So quickly, just in the interest of the time, is that when you do a refinancing that means you're taking out equity from your home, your current home that you own. And the only way you can take out the equity. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you bought a home 2 years ago and it was for $500,000. I'm just going to use it in a shorter way. And now the worth of that home is around 1.2. So that means you have built enough equity in there. Doesn't mean that you can take out the full equity from here. So what refinancing means is this: whatever you bought and whatever that value, appraised value by the bank would be, if it comes up to 1.2, let's say, and again, it's the topic that we can go on and on and on that. But just to make it very short and a quick and a very generic one. So 1.2 is what your appraisal report came back, and you bought it for 500, and that's the difference that you have. You get 80%. That's the general rule, but there are nuances to it. So keep that in mind, and your mortgage agent would be able to do that. If your income has not gone up, if you are still at the same income that you had when you bought that $500,000 home, then you will not be able to take out the equity. So your income must be able to sustain that expansion of your mortgage. What it does with the equity or refinancing is this: that when you bought your home, you got it for 500, you put down 10%, and then that means the rest of the amount was mortgaged by the bank. Now, with the refinancing, let's say the bank was able to give you $200,000, your mortgage has expanded from your initial 450 to your another 200. So that's an expansion. So in order for you to give that $200,000, you have to be able to have an income that sustains. That's one step. Second step is this: that now let's say you did qualify for that. You got that $200,000. Now you're looking for an investment. So now your investment is, let's say, for $600,000. If your income still does not sustain, you will not be able to buy $600,000 home unless there are different, again, nuances that we can show that you have a rental income that would be able to sustain it. And now your income would be able to qualify for almost $1,012,000 home based on the two equity. So that's a simple math that I thought I could run it, and that makes sense, but it's a more sit down conversation. It's not an easy, simple in a seminar setting, but having a very deeper conversation with your mortgage agent is the best way to start at this point. And Indranil, do you want to add anything to that?
No, you pretty much covered everything, and I agree with that. This is a question for your mortgage broker. I think they will be better suited to help you with this. They will give you the right answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramneet and Indranil. The next question, maybe I can ask this to Indranil. BOC rates, Bank of Canada rates are going to rise in April. How will that affect real estate market? Historically, how has this affected like buyers market versus sellers? This is a question by Aditya.
Well, there are rumors that the government will try to intervene and try to bring the rate up, or they will come up with some policies so that they can try to slow down the market a little bit. What will happen if the interest rate go up? Then the qualification for the buyers will go down, and then the number of buyers for a particular home will be less. So in that case, that could make the real estate market a little bit stagnant. What was the second part of the question that you asked? Sorry.
Will historically, how has this affected the market? Like,
yeah, so we were discussing about that. All four of us were kind of agreeing that we will see something. We are predicting that we will see something like that in 2022. Exactly when, nobody knows. We are all thinking about it. But if it does happen, there will be that little window where, like last year, for instance, summer of last year, I remember very well that condo market was really stagnant. People could get a good deal in a condo market at that time. Looking back at it, we can see it now. So that's why if you're in the market, you will catch it. If you're looking at it from outside, it will be very hard. It will go by so fast that you would look back at it and say, oh, that was a good time to buy. Ramneet, you want to add anything to that?
okay, one quick note for the panelists. We have a WhatsApp group. I have asked a question. Can you please reply in WhatsApp very quickly? Thank you. The next question is by Shayantan. Given that almost all semi-detached houses are going beyond 1 million in GTA, is it possible to buy such houses by giving 10% deposit? Anybody can take that.
Say that question again, sorry.
Given that almost all semi-detached houses are going beyond 1 million in GTA, is it possible to buy such houses by giving 10% deposit?
Well, again, it's a question for a mortgage broker, but I think the moment you're crossing a million and up, the down payment structure totally changes. Right, Ramneet?
Absolutely. It was such an interesting situation I had. It was a townhouse in Whitby that my client put an offer for. One buyer bought it for $99999, and that evaded them for putting 20% down. As soon as they would have gone across, they would have had to put down 20%. Yes, the government, like Indranil said, they are looking to expand from 1 million to 1.25, but that's not yet passed. CMHC is still looking at it, but when it does, it's going to create more sellers market, so no buyers market. What is that going to be? I don't know.
Okay, thank you so much. My next question is from Tanishtha. For investment property, what options should we look for if we want positive cash flow? So let me break it up into two parts. From a pre-con perspective, let's have an answer, and then from a resale perspective. So I'll repeat the question. Maybe Suman or Sid can answer first.
Yeah.
For investment property, what options should we look for if we want positive cash flow?
The first option that comes to mind is looking for a property which is cheaper. That's not going to happen in this market. So getting positive cash flow is very wishful in pre-construction. But what makes you money in pre-construction, the shorter or the longer game, is the equity and the price of the property going up, right? You still have to do your maths, and same thing applies with resale as well. So Indranil can probably answer the resale part. But this is what I can tell you is the price of the property has to be low. If you're looking at a positive cash flow, obviously your mortgage has to be lower than your rent. So that's how you create that positive cash flow. You have to
go for a higher down payment.
Correct. But another part is when you're paying a mortgage, half of it is your interest and half of it is your principal. So if you take that money as cash flow, then obviously, there is possibility that in some condo projects, you might end up with a few $100s in your pocket overall. But it's very wishful right now.
Okay, thank you. From the resale perspective,
well, Sid is absolutely right. In today's market, when somebody comes, I almost say it's impossible to get like a positive cash flow. The only time when it's a little bit different, when I can think about, is if you buy a resale home where there is 2 units on it, like you have the upstairs 2 floor, you're renting it out, and then you have a basement apartment. then in some cases, there might be a couple of $100 left at the end of the day. Till last year, we were able to get properties like that. I don't know with the current market, the way the prices have gone between last year and this year, if it is still going to be possible. But be very careful over here. When I say about the second unit, a lot of cities nowadays are thinking about or going after owners for making the second units legal. So don't just buy a house with the second unit thinking that you have hit the lottery, because you might have some hidden costs later on to make it legal or get into any kind of complications. Ramneet, anything?
No, I think you both sort of covered it. The legal complication is important, that you have a fine that comes up that's almost $2,000 if you don't have a legal one. And to convert it into a legal apartment, that means you have to undo and do. So I think people in the IT world understand that undoing and doing is a more costly affair. So breaking down the already built, and then you have to build it per code. Every component of the home that you're building needs to be passed by the city inspectors, plumbing, electricals, drywalling, all of that will have to be your size of the egress windows, everything, second exit, separate entrance, everything to be. So that's very, very important to be mindful of. And I agree with Indranil on that one, that if you have a 2-unit, you would be. Or sometimes you can look for something like not a pretty looking home, but a home that is still needing some work, but livable, good condition, and you can still sort of make some money and grab it for a decent price. That is, if you can grab it for a decent price.
Okay, thank you so much. Right now it's 10 o'clock. We were supposed to finish our session at 10, but since we have few more questions left, we will extend by 10 more minutes. Please bear with us. Our panelists have agreed to stay with us for 10 more minutes. Thank you so much to all the 4 panelists. Next question is for a first-time home buyer who do not have an option for bidding war and can go up to, let's say, 600K. What would be the best option for them? Go for a condo in a proper location, or look for condos or apartments in little offside places like Hamilton, Niagara, and maybe sell it later and try to move in to a better location? This question is by Deep.
Okay, let Ramneet answer it, right? It's a resale question, or?
Yeah, it's a resale question, yeah.
Interesting. So when you say little town like Hamilton, Niagara, there are no more little town in Hamilton and Niagara. They're becoming so popular at this point that Hamilton has taken a big turn, so has Niagara. Now the homes are selling for over 800. So at this point, the simplest answer I would say is wherever it can buy you in a safe neighborhood for that price, go for it. Absolutely go for it. Real estate is kind of an investment that will give you back. Some places it will give you maybe 50 grand versus somewhere it will give you 300,000, but get in there. Again, I'm a storyteller, so I'll tell one quick story. My client bought a townhome in one of the buildings, it's a low-rise building. It was a stacked townhome, 2-story. It was not forced air. It didn't have a central AC. We bought it for 400 something, and we sold it last year for 100,000 more. Within a year, a property like that did appraise. It's because of the market. So get in there. You will still make money. If you don't pocket enough, you will still pocket some than what you are pocketing right now, which is 0. So that's a simple and straightforward answer.
No, absolutely right, Ramneet. One thing to be aware of, though, if you are going into the condo market, just keep an eye on the maintenance fee. Don't buy something with a really high maintenance fee. Try to stay at something within the 600 amount. I think that will also be something that you will be able to resell down in the future. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question is by probably Bob. This is probably Bob. What is reverse mortgage and how can it help a senior who is looking to retire?
I can answer that, or I will try to answer that. Reverse mortgage is pretty much somebody who has paid off the whole house. And now there are companies out there that they will be co-owners of the house with you and take some money out and help you with your daily costs. It's a very controversial thing. I don't know if everybody is up for it. So that's my 5 cents on it.
Yeah, and nowadays there's a lot of scams around this reverse mortgage. So you got to be very careful. You're absolutely right. You can use the equity on certain things, but the cost associated with it or down the line, since you're not paying anything upfront, you don't feel it, but your next generation will feel it for sure.
Okay, thank you. The next question is by Aditya. For building a real estate portfolio, I read somewhere that one can own maximum 4 properties. Is this true? If not, how many mortgages can one take out and what factors matter?
For this, you can, the mortgageability totally depends on your portfolio, your financial status, how much money you have. If you're making $1 million, of course, you can have more than 4 mortgages. But the smarter way to do it is with, what we do usually is we partner up with people and we buy multiple properties. That way we end up with more than 4. But at the same time, the mortgage is on one person. So it's a little bit of a approach that you can take to smartly invest and increase your portfolio. Just make sure the person you're partnering with is like-minded and is trustworthy.
Okay, thank you. Okay, the next question is by Tanya. If someone wants to buy an investment condo unit for resale or rent purpose, would 1+ den or 2 bedrooms be a better option?
Well, it will all depend on the location. We always look at, well, first of all, your affordability. So depends on which part of the GTA you are thinking about buying it. And you can do a market study as to which one gets rented to who first. So if there are young professionals, a 1 bedroom will be fine for them. If there are more families looking into moving into that area, then a two bedroom would be ideal. Ramneet?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And I think it all comes down to what you can buy. And based on that, you can go. And if you do have affordability for both, just as Indranil said, that what that location is, the demand of that location. The downtown Toronto, you're looking at more younger. If it is anything around Etobicoke, you're looking at families also because there are schools and things like that.
Okay, thank you. I think that was the last question we had. I think we had a very good session. I would like to hear from the audience how they felt about this session. Guys, so some of you joined with the purpose you wanted to know certain things. Do you feel you guys were able to get what you were looking for?
Well, Arijit gave us a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Arijit.
thank you, panelists. It was a really very enriching session. So yeah, we definitely came to know many things that like new home buyers like us don't know. So yeah, I'm very grateful that Indrajit has made for this meeting. So yeah, I'm very thankful to everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you, Paramita.
Thank you for answering all our questions. It was really helpful. We do have more questions, so I don't know, maybe we'll have more sessions or maybe talk to each one of you individually. So thanks again.
Thank you. Yeah, we will try to set up future sessions. There are quite a few realtors in our group. You can reach out to any of them. But we will try to set up more sessions. Okay, I think it's 10:08. With that, I would like to once again thank all the panelists, Suman, Sid, Ramneet, and Indranil. You took so much time out of your day and you helped us get answers to all our questions. Thank you so much for that. And I would really like to thank all the audience members. It's quite late now, but you guys stayed with us and attended the session. I'm hoping it was helpful to you. And this also gives us more confidence that we are going in the right direction. We can have more sessions like this. So thank you so much for attending.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for
Thank you,
having us.
Indrajit. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
so much.
All the best to everyone with their home
Yeah,
purchase.
thank you. Take care, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Thanks, Indrajit, for all the moderation.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Take
My
care.
pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.